Hello, and thank you for that kind introduction. I'm Michael Kim. It's good to be back in Korea. My parents came to America after graduating from a university here in Seoul. My mother from Ewha and my father from Seoul National University. As a first-generation Korean American, I apologize up front, but I unfortunately don't speak Korean. Since this is my first time traveling to Korea without my family, I thought it would be smart for me to call my mother and to ask her for some advice. So I asked her, is there anything that I can say at the beginning of my talk to make me sound very smart or clever or witty? And she just said, just don't forget, Michael, it's 요, 한거마무때 요. So I'm humbled and honored to be with you here today to discuss behavior change games and habit design. How many of you played an online game today? Raise your hand. I don't believe you. Come on. 네. So on Earth, there are over almost 500 million people who play online games at least 1 hour every day. And as you probably know, here in Korea, roughly half of Koreans regularly play online games. And by the age of 21, a student will have logged over 10,000 hours of online gameplay. Now, of course, as you know, gaming addiction is a very real, serious problem here in Korea. And your government has rallied efforts to control gaming in the hopes that people will turn away from games. But I believe and I hope that instead Korea is uniquely positioned to leverage your leadership and innovation in advanced online gaming to develop what I call behavior change games, games that can actually help us to grow our personal and our communal well-being. So to begin, I think it would be helpful for me to share some of my past ventures that help to inform my thinking around behavior change games. Before I launched my current company, I served as a director of Xbox Live. And during my 10 years at Microsoft, I helped launch over a dozen new ventures there, all experimenting in new forms of interactive gaming experiences. For example, Microsoft's introduction of Xbox Kinect, whose sensors can detect physical movement and map them into virtual reality, has caused an explosion in exercise gaming, which has now become one of the fastest growing gaming genres in America. Medical researchers have already discovered that these exercise games can lead to the same positive health effects as real exercise or traditional exercise. Another effort that we developed that experimented with this merging of the virtual and the real world was traveling with your Xbox Live avatar on your smartphone. So here, as you explore certain geographically tagged locations, such as retail stores, your virtual Xbox avatar would react in real time to where you traveled in the world with your smartphone. So for example, if you walked into a toy store, your Xbox Live avatar would start to play with one of the toys in that toy store. If you walked by a gym, your avatar would try to encourage you to come into the gym by starting to run or exercise or lift weights. And this may sound like a very simple kind of game, but we found in our research that it increased users' willingness to try new health behaviors by over 40%. So now these two examples of behavior change gaming have just emerged in the last 3 years. And for some time, I had thought, well, it will take some time for this market to mature, for it to become popular. But I was wrong. In a study last year of 300 smartphone owners between the ages of 15 and 54 who consider themselves to be casual gamers, so only occasionally playing games, half of them indicated that they desired to see more games for achieving their own personal goals. And 72% indicated that they wanted to see more games specifically for their own personal wellness and health care. This year alone, there are expected to be 250 million downloads of smartphone health applications worldwide. This is double the number last year. And by the year 2015, that number will again double. So for those of you in the audience who are my fellow peers in the gaming industry, you may be wondering, is there a business model here? Will people pay for this? Well, people are already paying out of pocket for this, and it turns out that by the end of this year, all those downloads will amount to roughly $1.3 billion, twice the amount that it was last year. So you may be asking, okay, if we're going to design behavior change games for people's well-being, what is well-being? Well, here we have identified the research of Professor Martin Seligman from the University of Pennsylvania as being particularly insightful and helpful for defining what is well-being. Dr. Seligman is widely regarded as the founder of positive psychology and created his PERMA model for resiliency after extensive work with the US military and thousands of soldiers who came back from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as work done with the British Prime Minister David Cameron, who has a secretary-level cabinet position that is responsible for increasing the country's level of PERMA in the United Kingdom. So what is PERMA? PERMA stands for P, positive emotions, so euphoria, joy, love. E, engagement or focused attention, what some people call being in a flow state. R, relationships and having meaningful reciprocal relationships. M, meaning or seeing a greater role and purpose in your life than just surviving, whether that be in the context of your family or your community or your church or even your God. And finally, A, accomplishment, and having a sense of what psychologists call agency, and that is what you put your mind and effort to, you believe has more or less some likelihood of success. So P-E-R-M-A, PERMA. These 5 elements have a lot in common with games, don't they? Well, it turns out that Dr. Seligman believes that behavior change games are the best, most scalable vehicle for delivering well-being throughout the world. So pulling all of this together, we've built a working framework for what we consider to be effective behavior change games and invite you to help us in this framework. First, behavioral conditioning, or some ongoing reconditioning of your daily routines. Second, delivering this conditioning through the intelligence of smartphones. Third, PERMA, as we discussed just now, a framework for well-being. And fourth, delivering PERMA through social game mechanics. So all of these 4 things put together, we feel, actually constitute as winning in behavior change games. So in the short amount of time that we have left, let's take a look at just 3 simple examples of what might be called behavior change games. This is a picture of a Swedish experiment to try and to lower speeding in a particularly busy intersection in Sweden. This is a speed camera, and it takes a picture of every car license plate that passes it and shows you your speed in real time. If you go over the speed limit, you get fined. If you go under the limit, however, you are entered into a lottery where you have the chance to win a portion of the fines paid by those other speeding drivers. So this experiment was only conducted for a few days, but it reduced speeding by 22%. Next, let's take a look at another fun example, this also coincidentally from Sweden, and this one is just a brief video. So as you can see, it doesn't take much to create a behavior change game. You want to trigger or condition a simple behavioral response, such as tap on the brake or take the stairs. You want to tap elements of PERMA, or such as the positive emotion of getting a lottery ticket or playing the piano with your feet. One of my favorite final examples here of a smartphone-based behavior change game is called Waze. Waze is a real-time, crowdsourced traffic mapping application. Here on the far left, you can see a real-time map of drivers in San Francisco. And as you drive in your real car, your virtual car gains points. You also gain points for alerting other drivers about road conditions, such as accidents or even hiding police. You use your points to make your avatar look cooler to other drivers. And a fun game mechanic that they've incorporated are bonus candies that give you bonus points if you drive over them with your real car. So I don't know whether the company has released data about how this has helped traffic congestion or not, but over 15 million players are regularly participating in the Waze network every month. So these are just a few simple examples of behavior change games that we have time to highlight today. We at Kairos Labs have been conducting user research with psychologists, social game developers, and thousands of users towards applying these 4 ingredients of behavior change gaming towards habit formation. We believe that your health or your well-being is actually a lagging indicator or a byproduct of having frequent episodes of Kairos in your daily life. Now, what is Kairos? Kairos in ancient Greek means the optimal moment, the moment your effort turns to achievement. Our first initiative is called Habitual. This is a smartphone-based social gaming network for helping you to practice and master sustainable daily habits that lead to greater well-being. We're currently in private beta testing, so unfortunately I cannot share too much details with you today, but we have found that roughly 50% of our players are still engaged with our behavior change game after the first 100 days. So finally, to conclude, I would like to invite companies and organizations here at the Seoul Digital Forum to join us in this effort to create behavior change games by joining a consortium that we call the Habit Design Network. The Habit Design Network started in San Francisco last year and now includes over 500 companies, healthcare organizations, universities, and others who are sharing best practices in behavior change systems design. Thank you very much for your kind invitation to be with you here today, and I hope that you will join us in making games that make your life better. 감사합니다.